Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, let us see few more options on AWS IAM service. So for this, you can see previously we have created a user and we attached permissions for him by using policies, and we have also seen the policies about inline policies and how to create a policy by using visual editor, which was directly provided by AWS. How to select a service, so we have seen that. So let's see few more services, few more options present in IAM service. You can see user groups. I'm just clicking on it. So why this user group is used? So in order to provide multiple users, in order to provide same permission to multiple users, you can use this user group. So you just create a group and then you can add or attach the policies to that group, and then add number of users you want, those many users to that group, so that whatever the policies that you attach to the group, those all policies or permissions can be acceptable by row, whatever the users that you added to the group. So let's say I'm creating a group. The group name is developers group. So I'm just adding one person, not adding any person, I'm just creating a group. So you can see just I provided the name and I just clicked on create group. You can see my group is created. Here you can see total number of users are 0. Permissions also not defined. So the creation time is also available now. Now I just going to this group, open the group, and then now under the permissions, I want to attach some permissions. So whatever the policies that I want, that I can able to attach here. So I clicked on attach policies. You can see under the add permissions, you have option called attach policies. I just click it there and I want to attach what are the policies that I want to attach to this developers group. So for the developer, for any developer, I want to provide my S3 full access. So that's why I selected this S3 full access, and I'm also expecting to provide EC2 full access. You can see I provided this as well. So currently I'm expecting to provide S3 full access and EC2 full access. I just selected those two. You can see two options or two policies got selected that even shown here. You can just click on attach policies. So currently no policies are there. We are attaching two policies to that group. So just click on attach policies. Now we just selected the policies and attached the policies to the group. Wow, we have seen how to create a group and how to attach policies to that group, right? You can say permissions to that group. If you want to delete the group, just select the group. You just click on delete. I will delete this group at the end of this video. So now what I'm expecting is I want to create a user and attach that user to this group. So that's why I'm just going to users and I'm just creating another user with the name Ajay, and I want to provide a console access to him, and I want to provide create IAM user with customized key, that is a you can see I'm showing the password as well. So I'm just clicking on next. It was showing me that the password entered code does not confirm. It was not satisfying the password policy. So at least one lowercase letter. So I'm just provided that. I'm just copying the password. So I'm just clicking on next. So while creating itself, it was asking you to provide permissions by attaching to a group. You can see I have a developer group. I can even attach during the creation. I can attach this user to this group during user creation, or else I can even attach after creation of the user as well. So if you just click on next, then this user will be attached to that group, added to that group. Currently, I'm not expecting to add to that group. I want to add the person to that group after individual user creation. So I'm just creating a normal user. I'm not attaching any policies to him. You can see review. Yeah, you can see it was created. Now I'm just opening a incognito tab, another new tab, and I'm just logging into that user. It was loading. Yeah, login back. Or else you can see my account. You can see sign in option is also available there. So now what I'm expecting is I want to log in as this Ajay user and check whether he is having any permissions or not. Then after that, I want to attach that person to the group and check whether the group permissions are acceptable by that user or not. So for that, I'm just provided my account ID and I also providing the username and what are the password that I copied. So I'm just clicking on sign in. You can see it was by default opening in US East 1 region. I think it's loading. Yeah. Hmm. So currently we have not provided any permissions to him. You can even see him from my admin account. So return to users list I'm clicking. Yeah, just continue. You can see I have Ajay, but he's not having any permissions here. You can see permission policies are not available. Under the groups also, he is not added to any groups. No tags, no security credentials. Yeah, there is security credential to log in for console, whereas access keys are not created for him. If you want to provide programmatic access, then you need to provide this access keys as well. So in order to create, just click on create here. And so what is the use scenario for you that you need to specify? Since I'm expecting to provide CLI, then just click there, provide the confirmation, and then just click next. So it is asking you describe tag value. It's an optional. If you want, you can add, or else you just click on create access keys. You can see these access keys are created. So this is very important point. Just remember whatever the access key and secret key which are visible now, those are only visible at the time of creation. If you want, you can able to download them. If you download them, they can save in the form of CSV file, .csv file, so that you can able to share those credentials to user, Ajay user, and you can that Ajay user can able to use those credentials and log into the CLI command line interface. So that's it. So I'm just clicking on done. In this way, we can even able to provide this programmatic keys as well. You can even able to delete them as well. So just created, you can deactivate them or activate them. You can even edit the description. You can delete them. So I'm just deleting it. So first we need to deactivate. So keys are deactivated successfully. So for the confirmation, it is asking us to copy this and paste there. I just copied the ID and pasted. Just click on delete. You can see access keys are deleted successfully, right? Yeah. So in this way, you can able to provide access keys for a person, even easily delete that. So here the limitation is max 2 keys you can able to create. Max 2 access keys you can able to create. Either they may be active or inactive. So let's move back to our discussion, that is not present in any group or permission. So he does not have any access. So let's move back to console. You can see, yeah, you can see. So let's open one of the service, that is S3. I'm just clicked on it. So it's loading. Actually, since I'm not provided any permissions or policies attached to that person, currently he's not having access even to list what are the buckets present in S3. So let's see whether this Ajay person can have permission to list this or not. This user can able to see the buckets or not. For that, I'm just clicking on buckets. Yeah, I'm just clicking on buckets. You can see here currently, since I'm not provided any permission, it needs to show like no, access is not allowed. You are not authenticated to list the buckets. So that's what the message I'm expecting here. So currently it is loading. So let's wait and see. You can see we got message, that is you don't have permissions to list the buckets. So whatever we thought that was happening here. So let us provide a group permission to this person. So let me add this person to group. What are the groups do I have? User groups. I have two groups. First one is developer group and admin group. So you can add a person to a group directly from user groups. So just select that user group and add user. You can select what person you want to add. You can even multiple persons you can able to select and add. So I'm just clicked on add a person to the group. So you can see user is added. Now, if you see the user, if you open that particular user, then you can see under the groups, he was added under that group. So let's remove that person from that group and try to add that person to the group directly from user. So you can even add this user group to user from the users itself. So I'm just opening the user. You can see currently it is not attached to any group. So from here itself, you can able to add to any group. You can see the option add user to group. So if you just click on it, you can see the options of groups which are available to you. Then you can able to add that particular user to whatever the group you want to add. So now I just added to the group. So let's check whether this user is getting all the permissions which are provided to the group. You can see, yes, it is getting group permissions as well. Is this Ajay getting group permissions? Yes, this Ajay getting group permissions as well. So whenever we attach a user to a group, then do user getting those permissions for him? Yes, he is getting those permissions for him. So let's validate it. Now since he is having S3 bucket policy, S3 access, so that's why he can able to reload and see whatever the data which is present in S3, right? Yes. So in this way, we can able to create user groups and we can add user to that user groups. Now you can see we have already created a group, user group, and we attached a user to that group, and we verified that user can able to access the group permissions or not. So we verified user can able to access what are the permissions that are attached to the group. So let us delete this group. I'm just removing this group. Yeah, currently this user is not present in any groups. So under the groups, I'm just deleting the group, whatever the group that I created. So for that, we need to provide the confirmation. So, and I just need to copy paste. Yeah, that's it. Very simple. In this way, easily you can able to delete the group. You can see user group is deleted. In this way, you can able to create a user group and attach policies to that user group, and you can even simply delete that user group. And so after creation of user group, you can able to attach users to that group easily. So now roles. Let us see about these roles. So what are these roles? These provides temporary access. So whenever a user switch to that role, then that user got temporary access. So I'm just clicking creating a role so that I want to provide that role permission to this Ajay user. Currently, since Ajay user is not present in any groups, it does not have any permissions now. So I'm just reloading and checking whether he can able to access this S3 service or not. So currently he's not present in any group. We removed that group as well. So that's why he's not having any permissions. Individually for that person also I have not provided any permissions as well. So now what I'm expecting is I want to provide permission to this Ajay person by creating a role. By creating a role, I'm expecting to provide a temporary permission to that Ajay. So for that, I'm just clicking on create role. So under the AWS services, you need to select the service. Then here you need to tell for what this role is creating. You're creating this role for any service. That means you are trying to provide this role for any service to access another service. No, currently I'm creating this role for a particular user, that is AWS account user. So that's why I'm selecting this user AWS account. You can even provide access to another AWS account users as well. If you want to provide another account user, then you need to provide the account ID. So currently I'm expecting to provide Ajay. He is already present in the same account. So other options, if you want, these are additional options, you can even provide them. So I'm just clicking on next. You can see what policy you want to attach. Currently I'm expecting to provide S3 permission, full access. So just click on next. You can see you need to provide role name. So I'm providing role 1 as role name. That's it. Just click on next, create role. You can see your role is creating. Your role 1 is created. You can see that role is this. Even you can click on this and see the role as well. So now let us attach this role to Ajay so that he can able to access it, right? Yes. So under the users, we have Ajay. For this Ajay, I want to attach the role, right? Yes. Since we created the role in account level, we do not need to attach individually to this particular user. If you want to add this particular user to that particular role, you can do that. So just save the ARN and then go back to roles. There you can see the role that you created. So for that role, you can open and see the trusted relationships. So you can edit it as well. So for this, you can able to add the principal as well. So you can see add principal. So here you need to select, specify the principal type and ARN you want to add. So since I want to add this to user, and then you need to provide the ARN for that user. Just click on add. So that whatever the user that you provided, for that user also added. You can see that user also added. So just update the policy. So now what we have done, we have created a role and we provided or we attached that role to this particular Ajay user. So now let's move back to Ajay. So I'm just opened Ajay's account. You can see I already logged in with Ajay. So I'm just reloading this. Let us see whether he's getting permission about S3 or not. After attaching the role, he's not still getting. Why? Remember, roles are switchable. Roles are switchable. You have to switch to that role. You can see under the top right, if you select your account, Ajay account, you can see an option called switch role. So that you need to select in order to switch to that particular role and access the permissions which are available to that particular role. First, the user need to switch. So since I provided a policy in my account, you can see, so whatever the user with this ARN can able to switch to allow to assume this role, right? So that's I provided. So that he can able to switch to that role. Now here you need to provide your account ID at first. So for that, I'm just copying the account ID. So this is the account ID. I just copied that and pasted here. Now IAM role name. So I just put the role name as role 1 because that is the role name that I created. That's it. Just click on switch role. You can see it was loading. Yeah. So we are present in S3. This person can able to now see the roles. So there might be some chances sometime you need to provide a role for particular user present in your organization or out of your organization where he can able to access some of services to perform some actions. So in those cases, these roles are highly utilizable, right? Yes. So one more important point is, now let's say I want to provide easy to access to Ajay. So for the user Ajay, I just selected that user and I'm providing easy to access for that Ajay. And I want to check whether the role can able to access easy to permission or not. So I'm just attaching a policy of easy to full access to Ajay. You can see I just selected this and I added this permission to Ajay. Now Ajay is having only easy to full access, but Ajay is also having a role. That is what role 1. So let us see this role 1. So whatever the role 1 that we switched from Ajay, this role 1 can able to access whatever the credentials, whatever the permissions that I provided to Ajay user. So for that, I just opening the EC2 dashboard. So this is one of the important certification question, that if you attach a permission to user, can the role attached to the same user can able to access the permissions? That means if you log in into a role, then that role can access whatever the user permissions that user has. So let's see visually the answer. That role can able to access the permissions of user or not. You can see it was specifying permission is denied. So roles cannot access the permissions of users. Only users can able to switch to the role, and after switching to the role only users can able to access role related permissions. So before switching to the role also, user cannot able to access the permissions which are provided to the role. Here in this case, we provided S3 access to the role 1 and we attached this role to Ajay. So if we log in like Ajay, then he directly do not have access to S3 because that permission is provided to role 1 only. So if he switch to role 1, then he can able to access S3, right? Yes. So as a Ajay user, he does not have permission to S3, but if he switch to role 1, then he have permission to S3. This role 1 I have permission to S3. Now I provided EC2 access to Ajay. Does role 1 can able to access the EC2 instances? That means the EC2 service? The answer is no. Role 1 cannot access the permissions of user. That means IAM roles. If you switch from user to role, then that role can access the permissions that you attached in that role only. That role replaces all the permissions of user to that role permissions in the time of switching to that role. If you switch back to user, then you got all the permissions of users and you still remain in the user's place. So let's switch back to Ajay user and check whether he can able to have the EC2 permissions or not. So I'm just clicking on switch back. It is loading. You can see, I think he don't get any error because we provided EC2 full access to him. It's loading. For fees related thing, user do not have permissions because he is a user, right? Only root user can able to get fee related permissions, but other users do not have. You can see there is no error here. There is no any API key error. That means this Ajay user can able to access this EC2 service as well. So this is the thing that you need to remember while moving with the roles. So if you switch to any role, then that role can access whatever the permissions that you attach to that role only. User permissions won't be accessed by the role. In the same way, if you attach any role to user, user can access that role permissions only after switching to that role only. Before switching to that role, he cannot access any permissions. Similarly, user permissions won't be accessible by roles, right? Yes. If you attach that permissions to roles, then those only accessible by the role. So these are about roles and user groups. I hope you understood this. So let's say if you want credentials report, so how many users you have, so those related report, then you just click under this credentials report and download here so that your CSV file will be downloaded with passwords and username details that you can even provide to manager if he asks you. If you have any organizations, then you can see this organization activity. Currently, I'm not having any organizations, so I don't think, yeah, I can't get this. If your organizations, then you can able to provide service control policies to your organizations as well. Since I'm not maintaining any organizations, I'm not even need to provide this service control policies as well. So external access, unused access, and access analyzer settings. This is all about access analysis. Who can able to access analyzer reports. This is all about. You can click on info here so that you can see the data related it. It generates an external access finding when parts of the resource within your zone or outside of your zone of your trust. So here the persons who are accessing from outside of your account, those all will be recorded under the external access. So unused access will provide you who are the users, those are not using the access. Access analyzer settings, you can even create one access analyzer settings. So based on your need. So if you just click on create, so it will be created. By using this access analyzer settings, you can able to create access analysis for external resources, or you can see within your resources, whoever the users, those are not using those access that you provided by using the IAM role. So this is all about IAM. If you want, you can move on with other options as well. By using this identity provider, you can able to provide SSO, single sign-on. So you need to provide this, add a provider. So by using that, you can able to provide single sign-on option as well. At last, you have account settings. This is important. That is security token service. What is that? Security token service. At top, you also have password policy. You can even change this password policy. So whenever you're providing a user password, those that password also you can able to control. So if you just click on edit and if you click on customize password, then you have your own choice of providing how many characters that he can able to select and password related things that you can able to select. And if you want, you can change. Currently I'm not expecting, so I'm just move on with default. So I just doing nothing. So by default it was coming with some password policy. So I'm just moving on with it so that I just move back. So this is all about AWS IAM service. So I hope you understood all options in it and what are the actions that we can able to do to control our AWS resources access to any users in your company or whoever the users, those are using your AWS IAM accounts. So by managing these user accounts and policies or roles that you attach to those users or users attaching to the groups, you can able to provide or you can able to provide access or deny access to particular services. In that way, you can able to manage the control of access to resources or services which are provided, which are present in your AWS account. So always the best preference is provide less access to users. So based on demand only, you need to provide very less access to users. So what he want, that service only, in that service only, in that service also, you need to provide the limited number of permissions. If you are expecting to provide him an access to list the buckets, then just provide that permission only, so that it can able to avoid the less number of security threats or issues. So I hope you understood this IAM service. And in this user groups creation and deletion, roles creation and deletion. So let's see the role deletion as well. You have seen the role creation. I just clicking on this role. I'm just deleting this. So for that, you need to provide confirmation as well. I just deleted this role as well. You can see the role 1 is deleted. Now I'm expecting to delete the user as well. What are the user that I created? So I just deleting that user since my lab is completed. So one more thing, this IAM service do not charge you anything. This particular user is deleting. Yeah, that is deleted. This IAM service won't charge you anything for managing all these things. You will be charged nothing. You can use all these functionalities to control your AWS account and manage your resources in your AWS account and charge it very less and improve your business. So I hope you understood this AWS IAM service. I hope this video is contentful. If you feel this video is contentful, then please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thanks for watching again. See you back in the next video with another interesting topic. Until then, bye bye guys.